Look, I come from a household where, you know, money wasn't talked about a lot, but it's something I'm extremely interested in, and I'm an extremely, you know, frugal and even tight individual in a lot of ways. And my wife comes from a household where, you know, her parents were very frugal, and they, you know, saved and they invested, and they've done a lot of the right things financially. But you know, she didn't really have this view. She'd been able to spend money on the things that she wanted to spend money on, and she'd been able to do all these things. She knew what to do with money. She knew what was right, but it was still difficult to articulate why to do certain things. And why? Because my mind, the way my mind works is what? The way my mind works is numbers. The way my mind works is evidence, right? Proof. I want to, you know, show you how, you know, in, you know, a year we can be debt free, and how, you know, 20 years from now we can have X amount in investments, and we can own this house, and we can do these things and all this type of stuff. And that's the approach that I took. And it was fairly ineffective. And it didn't, luckily, make for an ineffective communication about money, because she already knew some of the basic tenets of what we needed to do financially. But in a situation where somebody like myself is trying to articulate to somebody who is making irresponsible financial decisions, you know, how to handle their money, and they go about it that way, telling them all the things that they need to do and all the things that, you know, are wrong with what they're doing right now, and they're going to shut down. It's not going to work. They're going to want to fight back. The most effective way I've ever seen to get my wife on board with anything, much less money things, is to make it seem beneficial to her. So that's really what I want to preach to you guys. Get your spouse and have them talk about what they want to do. Talk about, you know, what they want to do, how they think they want their life to go, and then talk to them about why you want to do what you want to do, and how it can help them get to where they want to be. And I'm just telling you, that is going to be an effective method. It's not manipulative. It is just simply putting things in a different perspective, right? It is putting things in the perspective of, instead of me coming to you and saying, you know, I want to do this, what you've been doing is wrong, what we've been doing is wrong, bad, bad, bad. That's not the vibe you want to put off. The vibe that you want to put off is, where do we really want to be? And how can we get there? And how can we get there together? And what's the best way to get there together? And if you can have the conversation in that way, then I feel like you'll just be a lot more effective in that way. Let me just tell you this. If you cannot get your spouse on board, if you cannot get your spouse to do the things that you want to do financially, and do the things that are going to be beneficial for you financially, then you may have some far deeper issues than your finances. The issues that you may have can range anywhere from just basic lack of communication with one another. There can be distrust. I mean, we talked about that yesterday, right? If you've had separate bank accounts, but now all of a sudden you want to combine those bank accounts, well, there may be some distrust on the part of one person saying, I don't want to combine finances with you because, you know, you're going to do something that is anti what I'm about. You know, either way it goes, whoever's good with money, whoever's not, there's going to be some distrust there maybe that would get in the way, that would make it to where I don't want to get on a plan with you. I don't want to work with you on this thing. It's going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be hard, especially if you've been doing things separate for so long, to get your spouse on board. And it can reveal a lot about your marriage that is not financial at all. And so I want you guys to have these conversations. Have the conversation of why, what do you want to do? How do you think, you know, we can best get to this place? And once you've had that conversation, if that doesn't pan out well for you, and you're more persistent, and you try to have honest conversations with your spouse, and it's not really panning out, there may be a need for some marriage counseling in that place, to where you can get on the same page, not just about your money, but about everything in your marriage, and why somebody may not trust someone else.